Maggie. First, today we'll be watching a 5 to 7 minute long video on chapters 1 through 5 in our book, A Tale of Two Cities. Then, after that, we're going to be playing Jeopardy in groups. Next, you will be given quizzes to test you on all the important information that you learned today. After that, there will be time for specific and brief, both of them, questions and answers on our presentation.
Chapter 1 starts out at Tellson's Bank in 1780. The bank is very small, dark, and ugly. It was located by Templar Bar, where the government displays the head of criminals. Execution was used very loosely for crimes both large and small. A new character is introduced, Jerry Cruncher, who is a mysterious messenger. He gets angry at his wife for praying for him. His wife and son become very concerned as to why he always has mud on his boots and rust on his fingers.
In Chapter 2, the bank clerk sends Cruncher to the courthouse, where Charles Darnay is on trial for treason, with giving secret information to the King of France. Darnay looks at the attractive young Lucy Minette, and later learns that she will serve as a witness with her father against him.
The Attorney General is leading the case. He is determined to have the jury find Darnay guilty. John Barsad and Roger Cly, two spies, are called to the stand and are convicted by Mr. Stryver. Mr. Laurie is later called to the stand and asked if he shared a Dover mail coach with Darnay 5 years ago. Laurie replied that he was unsure because each passenger had a hidden identity. Lucy is called to the stand next, and she admits to meeting Darnay on a ship back to England. Lucy is not interested in proving Darnay guilty. Dr. Minette is also called to the stand, but he cannot supply any info because he was so ill during the trip. The court begins to realize the similarities and appraise between Darnay and Stryver's colleague Sidney Carton. The coroner identifies Darnay as a spy, and the jury declares an acquittal for Darnay.
In Chapter 4, each of the convicted and witnesses exit the courtroom. Dr. Minette is a distinguished citizen, even though he is constantly troubled by his past. Hartley is greatly grateful to Stryver for his work. Lucy, Dr. Minette, and Stryver leave the court as Sidney Carton and Darnay joins Laurie. Laurie and Carton head to a bar where Carton is very drunk. Carton admits that he is disappointed in his wife in his life and regrets wasting it.
In Chapter 5, Sidney Carton heads to Stryver's apartment. They discuss the day at court. Stryver is nicknamed as the Lion, and he nicknames his friend Carton the Jackal. Stryver compliments Carton on his observation on Darnay's appearance. Stryver observes that Carton often fluctuates between moods. Carton claims he has no choice but to live his life in rust and repose. Stryver changes the subject by bringing up Lucy's beauty. Carton only refers to her as a doll. But Stryver is curious as to Carton's true feelings about her.
I'm fresh.
You gotta
be fresh.
So I give to you Chapter 1.
To do what?
To rock the spot.
With who?
The Super J.
And who?
Shot the shot.
Bust me if she hasn't done it again.
I was only praying.
Praying? Why are you praying against me?
I was praying for you.
No, you weren't. I will not be made a fool of. Your mother is such a nice lady, praying that I will fail and praying that we will not have any food.
They are from the heart. They are only worth what they mean to me.
They aren't worth much then. I can't afford to be made unlucky because of your prayers. If you need to throw yourself on the ground to pray, pray for your husband and child, not against them. Get dressed, young Jerry, and watch your mother while I clean my boots. Tell me if she gets on her knees and starts to pray. I haven't made any money because you have probably been praying all day against me. That's why I don't make any money.
Oh, you're about to go pray. Pray again? Oh, Father, oh, Father.
Are you at it again?
I was only asking for a blessing.
Keep quiet. I have to go run an errand.
Why does my father's fingers always have rust on them? He sure doesn't get it from working at the bank.
And I present to you Chapter 2.
Kick it! And the Hillman Jock Box!
Jerry, do you know Jarvis Lorry?
I do know Mr. Lorry. Better than I know or wish to know this old courthouse. I am an honest businessman.
Good. Then go through the entrance where they let the witnesses in and show the doorman this note from Mr. Lorry. He will let you into the courtroom. You will stay there. Your job is to let Mr. Lorry know that you're there if you need to.
Yes, sir. What is it? What is the charge? Forgery?
No, treason. He could be killed by quartering.
Truly barbaric, really. Well, I shall be on my way then. What case is next?
The treason case.
The one where they're going to quarter the man?
Yes.
If they decide he's guilty, you mean...
Oh, they'll find him guilty. Don't worry of that.
Silence! Yesterday, Charles Darnay pleaded not guilty to the charge of treason. He has been charged with betraying England to help King Louis of France.
Who are they?
Witnesses
For which side?
against the prisoner.
And I give to you Chapter 3.
Although the prisoner was a young man, he has been involved in treasonous activities for many years. He has been traveling between France and England on secret business. The documents that have been discovered shall prove that the prisoner has had lists of the strength and location of British forces, both at sea and on land, and that he has given this information to the enemy. The jury has no choice but to find the prisoner guilty and sentence him to death, whether they wanted to or not. I demand that you all find him guilty, and in the name of everything good and decent, I consider this prisoner as good as dead.
I now call John Barset to the stand. So, Mr. Barset, have you ever been a spy?
No, I made money off the property I inherited.
What's your profession?
I am a gentleman.
Ever make money by cheating or gambling?
Of course not.
Ever borrow money from the prisoner? If so, did you pay him back?
Yes, I have. And no, I did not pay him back.
You're not employed by the British government to entrap people, are you?
Of course not. And not to do anything else either.
Thank you. Please exit the stand.
Now I would like to call the trusted servant Roger Clyde to the stand.
So, Mr. Clyde, please tell us your relationship with the prisoner.
I'd started working for the prisoner 4 years earlier. I met the prisoner on a boat to Clyde and asked him if he wanted to serve him. The prisoner gave me a job. Shortly afterward, I had become suspicious of the prisoner and started watching him closely. I'd often seen lists similar to the one given as evidence. I had seen the prisoner show the same list to French gentlemen lying below. I love my country and couldn't stand to see such treachery, so I told the authorities.
I would like to call Jarvis Lorry to the stand. Mr. Jarvis Lorry, are you a clerk at Tellson's Bank?
I am.
So is it true that you were in the same coach that the prisoner is accused of being in?
Yes, indeed. I was in the same coach on a certain Friday night in November in 1775, traveling from London to Dover with 2 other passengers in the coach.
Mr. Lorry, look at the prisoner. Was he one of the passengers?
I don't know. Both of them were bundled up. It was dark and we kept to ourselves. So I can't be sure if he looked like one of the passengers or not.
Mr. Lorry, you cannot say for sure that he was not one of the 2 men.
No, he might have been one of them, except that I remember them both being afraid of thieves, like I was, and the prisoner doesn't look like a man who's afraid of anything.
Mr. Lorry, look at the prisoner again. Have you ever seen him before?
Yes, I have. I was coming back from France a few days afterward. The prisoner got on board our ship at Calais and came back to England with me. I was with 2 other people, a gentleman and a lady. They are in the courtroom.
Ah, yes, Miss Manette. Please take the stand. Mr. Lorry, that will be all. Miss Manette, please take a look at the prisoner. Have you ever seen him before?
Yes, sir, I have. On board the ship Mr. Lorry just mentioned, at the same time.
Did you talk to the prisoner at all during this journey across the channel?
Yes, when the prisoner came on board, he noticed that my father was very tired and weak. My father was in such bad condition that I was afraid to take him inside, and I made a bed for him on the deck near the cabin steps. I sat beside him, taking care of him. We were the only 4 passengers on board that night. The prisoner was kind enough to suggest a better way to shield my father from the wind and weather. I had not known how to. The prisoner did it for me. He was very gentle and kind toward my father, and I am sure he was sincere. That is how we started talking.
Did he come on board alone?
No, he was with 2 French gentlemen. They spoke together until the very last moment, when the 2 French gentlemen took their boat back to shore.
Did they pass any papers between them? Papers similar to these lists?
They might have been, but I'm not sure. They were at the top of the cabin steps near the light of the lamp. The lamp was very dim. All I could see was that they were looking at some papers. The prisoner was as open in his confidence with me, which arose out of my helpless situation. He was kind and good and useful to my father. I hope I may not repay him by doing any harm today.
Thank you, Miss Manette. That will be all. Let's call Dr. Manette to the stand. Dr. Manette, look at the prisoner. Have you ever seen him before?
Yes, once. He came to my home in London about 3 or 3.5 years ago. I am not able to verify anything. My condition was very poor and I do not remember anything for a long time.
Then I understand there is no other information you may provide for me. Please exit the stand. I understand Mr. Carton and the prisoner look extremely similar to each other.
May we please have a word from the prisoner's lawyer, Mr. Stryver?
I would like to reveal that Barsad and Clyde are spies. Each of their remarks have made the prisoner appear guilty, which he is not.
The jury will now gather to discuss their verdict. The prisoner has been acquitted.
And we give to you Chapter 4.
Thank you, Miss Manette.
I'm happy I represented you honorably, Mr. Darnay. It was a villainous case they had against you, but that doesn't mean they could have succeeded.
I'm indebted to you for life, in 2 senses of the world. You did much better than any other could have.
Shall we go home, Father?
Ugh, yes.
Let's go to town, baby! Woo!
Do you feel like you belong to the world of the living yet, Mr. Darnay?
I'm quite disoriented, but I'm well enough to feel like I am.
You must be very happy about that. As for me, my greatest wish is to forget that I belong to this world. It has nothing good in store for me except this wine, and I have nothing for it. You and I are very different in that way. Actually, I'm starting to think that you and I aren't that similar after all.
To Miss Manette, then.
How does it feel to have such a beautiful young woman to pity you and sweet for you? Is it worth being put on trial for your life to be the object of such sympathy and compassion, Mr. Darnay? She was very happy to receive your message when I gave it to her. She didn't know that she was pleased, but I think she was. I don't want or deserve any thanks. First of all, it was nothing, and second, I don't even know why I did it. I don't think I do like you. I'm starting to think highly of your intelligence.
Regardless of whether you like me, there isn't any reason why I shouldn't thank you for your help, and we should part on good terms.
Do you call us even?
Yes, I do.
Then bring me another pint of this wine, and wake me in my room at 10 o'clock. One last thing, Mr. Darnay. Do you think I am drunk?
Yes, I know it.
Then I will tell you why. I am a disappointed drudge, sir. I care for no man on this earth, and no man on this earth cares for me.
I'm sorry to hear that. You might have put your skills to better use.
Perhaps, Mr. Darnay, perhaps not. Don't let your sober self get too excited. I don't know what trouble you might get yourself into. Good night. Sorry guys, we've been here for like 15 hours working on this, so chapter 5. Here we go.
You're a little late, sir. Never going to be known as a lion like me. Always the jackal.
I'm here around the usual time. Maybe I'm 15 minutes late.
See, you've already had a bottle of wine, Sydney.
2 tonight, I think. I've been eating with today's client, or watching him eat. It's all the same.
Not much work to be done tonight. Please, get to work.
Alright, I am ready. Give me the worst of it.
And now we're finished, Sydney, fill a glass of punch. You did well with those witnesses for the prosecution today, Sydney.
Don't I always do well?
You're acting just like you did back when you were at Shrewsbury School. Sydney, the seesaw. Up 1 minute and down the next. In a good mood 1 minute and in a bad mood the next.
Yes, I'm the same, Sydney, with the same bad luck.
You've always been lazy. You have no energy or purpose. Look at me. How have I done all that I've done? How do I do what I do? I push my way to the front lines. Was I born that way?
You have always been ahead and I've always been behind. Even when we were in Paris studying French and French law, and I tried to learn other French things that weren't very good for us. You were always going somewhere and I was always going nowhere. I'm not sure that it wasn't your fault. You were always pushing and shoving and striving ahead. I had no choice but to sit back and waste my time away. It's depressing, though, to talk about the past at the beginning of a new day. Change the subject for me before I leave.
Well then, let's talk about that pretty witness. Isn't that a more pleasant topic?
Pretty witness.
Isn't she?
No, no one cares. Who made the Old Bailey a judge of beauty? She was a golden-haired doll.
We're done. We're done!
Such a nice lady, praying that I will fail, praying that we will,
James, stop making us laugh. Just don't go there.
Go in the bathroom.
Just up, he's cold, ready, he's crushing it out so fresh. With the beast, he's busting. Times are soon. Tell me who are you?
Other than the jog bar.
So bust this move. Skinny boy, skinny boy. Yo, Mark.